What's going on, Jammer fans? Welcome back to another episode of the B-Camp Sports Jam. Thanks again for joining us. Here alongside me is my black belt co-host, Steven Berkheimer. Steven, how are we doing
What's
tonight?
up? How are we doing tonight?
I'm good. Ready to get it popping as usual.
Let's do it.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Before we begin, gotta give a shout out to our sponsors. We love our sponsors. Good Samaritans Medical Transport LLC. For all your medical transport needs, call Good Samaritans Medical Transport. Service that exceeds expectations. Well, let's move in, Stevie. Let's get local, like we always do. Start talking about some of our local teams, starting with the Skins. I know this is the off season. Not a lot to talk about necessarily with the Skins, but it's the Skins. There's always something to talk about. So let's talk about Skins and their recent divorce with their star child, RG3. Heartbreaking. But it looks like the Skins will not be re-signing RG3. It looks like they'll be letting him go. Where do you think he will end up?
I'm going to go with the Texans.
Texans.
I want to say Texas, but I think I'll end up with the Texans. And if not the Texans, then I'll say Dallas. But, if I were Dallas and Jerry Jones, I wouldn't be so excited to sign him. I think they're looking for more stability, behind Tony Romo. With him being so injured and Tony Romo also being injury prone lately, I think they're looking for more. But the Texans would I think, suit his, play style more so than anybody that I can think of that's in need of a quarterback, maybe the Rams. But other than that, with O'Brien there in the Texans organization, I think he can do well with RG3.
I think that's a good call. The Texans have a question mark at quarterback. Anyway, obviously, look at their playoff performance at the quarterback position.
Right.
Disgusting. They need help. Is it RG3? I don't know. That's fine. You think he's possibly going to go to the Texans? I'm trying to think where exactly will he go. 'Cause I don't know if I see him as a starter just yet. Obviously had a great rookie year with the Skins. Tremendous athlete, lost a little bit of his athleticism, re-injured his knee that he hurt at Baylor. I look at RG3 now as a solid performer, but maybe not a starter that you want. I look at him as a viable backup that can earn his way to the starting spot. But as of right now, where he is mentally, from what I've seen, he needs to be in a backup position. And so where I think he needs to go is a team that already possibly has something solidified at the starting role, but he could kind of jump into if anything should happen or anything down the road. And the team I'm focusing on is the Buffalo Bills. You look at Tyrod Taylor, had a tremendous season, great job. I know they didn't get all the wins they wanted to make it to the postseason, but still a solid performance for him as his first year as a starter. And I think RG3, if anything should happen to Tyrod, can kind of come in and operate similarly to the game plan that they have. And they don't have any sort of situation at backup right now that is worth necessarily anything. And so I think a team that could really use a solid backup, which is what I see RG3 as right now, is Buffalo, and that is someone who can step into the role of Tyrod, who can extend plays with their legs when healthy, and be someone who can carry their team until the starter comes back or by any means necessary, in a sense. So I got Buffalo, and I think the Texans is a good call as well, but
Well, while I don't disagree with you, I agree that he is a backup. He's already stated, himself and his agent that he's looking for a starting position. So, with that said, do you have an idea where you think he might end up?
Okay.
Or
if he had to go somewhere as a starter, that's very different. Let's see. If he had to go somewhere as a starter, I think he would be most comfortable. I mean, Houston is a good situation, but Houston needs someone who can really get the ball to their playmakers. I mean, you have Hopkins, who is a stud, and they literally need someone who's not going to throw interceptions and not make stupid plays. And no offense to RG3, he hasn't shown that. Like,
Right.
he hasn't. I feel like if I was Bill O'Brien, I'd be like, look, I don't want this kid. He's the same that we have. He's just as bad as Hoyer, only he can run a little bit more when healthy. When he can run. I mean, honestly, I don't know. It's very, very tough because there's only a select number of quarterbacks that are looking for a new starter. You got teams like the Browns, but they're probably going to do something in the draft. And so I feel like the market for RG3 is very, very slim. Maybe he could go to like, I'll go with, but possibly the Jets because I feel like they don't have a solid starter necessarily. They're not advertising, looking for a quarterback. I'd have to agree with you for the Texans. For someone who's looking for a quarterback, for a new starter, I think to the Texans makes the most sense. I think the Browns don't want to test that road, but maybe they do. They're the Browns. Who has no clue? Maybe. And then there's not a lot of other teams that are looking for a starting quarterback besides the Rams. But I think the Rams are going to test the market in the draft. I don't think they want to test RG3, and that's where it gets very, 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 very kind of murky and cloudy for RG3's market because, the people who are desperate for starters are probably going to tap the draft market instead of signing injured, reputational quarterback in RG3. So I'm gonna go with the Texans with you in terms of a starting role, but I think he is more fit as a backup position in Buffalo. Is the way I see it.
I agree.
All right. Moving on to our next DC sports topic is the Caps.
Caps?
We can't find anything bad to say about the Caps. I know they just lost to Montreal. We're not happy about that. But still, overall, playing fantastic hockey. Right now, they're on pace to break records. Multiple. One is wins by a goalie. Holtby is on pace to break Berdure's record for most wins by a goalie in a regular season. The Caps are on pace to have the best regular season ever. Do you think it's feasible that both of these records could go down this year?
As we've stated in previous episodes, I definitely think that we are. I definitely think that we're going to. I definitely think that, I wouldn't say we're in a slump. We lost a couple games here and there, but, we're not playing as good hockey as we typically have been, previous or prior to the All-Star break. But I think, coming down to it and getting everybody healthy and us getting back together with our lines and understanding each other's gameplay, even with missing people due to injuries, I think it's just going to get better, and I see us getting, the wins that we need.
Well, absolutely. It's hard to be crisp every single night. I mean, we're 44-11-4, so we've had 11 games that we weren't on our game. But this is the NHL. I mean, this is the top competition virtually in the world. So you're going to have a couple slip-ups no matter what.
Right.
Even if you are that good of a team, you got to take into consideration that someone is going to step up to the plate one night and you may have a slight off game. Definitely not slumping by any standard of the imagination. Caps right now second in total goals in the NHL and first in goals against. So, that combo, it's been lethal. Our first and second line and Holtby has been carrying us. Holtby's defense, Caps first line and second line, absolutely on a tear right now. 92 points overall, first place right now in the NHL, first place in the East as well. This team looks good. They look legit. We just got to keep watching them. If you haven't watched any of their games, tune in, folks. They're exciting. They really, really are. Next, let's move on to the Lady Terps. Getting close to tournament time.
Yep.
March Madness is really creeping on us. We're getting there. Right now, currently, women's are 6th in the rankings, 25-3 overall record, 2nd in the Big Ten, half a game back from Ohio State right now in the Big Ten, 2nd. But right there, Maryland finishes the season against Minnesota, and Ohio State plays at number 20, Michigan State. Do you think we can leap them? I mean, in order for us to do that, they lose, we win. It's that simple. We need to win against Minnesota, who's just coming off a big win against Ohio State. We need to beat them, and then Ohio State needs to lose. Does it happen?
Unfortunately, no. I think that we both win.
Both win.
And we'll finish a half game back, and then we'll enter the conference tournament as a 2 seed. We'll see him again.
Mhm.
Hopefully, third time's a charm, and then we'll take care of business when we see him again.
Absolutely. I hope you're wrong, but I think you're right. Although Michigan State played them really well on the road at Ohio State. I think the score is 85-80. And so I don't know. Michigan State might have enough in them at home to pull off this upset against Ohio State. Now, that was very, very early in the season when they played, early in conference play, when Michigan State and Ohio State originally played at Ohio State. Now, this is going to be at Michigan State, and hopefully Michigan State still has the ingredients to take them down. I don't think they will. I think you're right. I think both teams do win. I think the Terps get it done at home against Minnesota. And I think Maryland's, needs to be focused more on the final picture down the road. Needs to be more involved in what they can do to get better for later in the year. Right now I think they're probably okay with where they are. 25-3, 6th in the nation is nothing to frown about. I know they'd probably like to be better, but they need to focus on, how they can win these big games. Like when we had Audrey on the show, talked about turnovers and these things. I think kind of on the back seat, back pedal is winning the Big Ten outright. I think they want that, but I think they may be more focused on the Big Ten Conference Championship in terms of helping their seeding for March Madness. I think that is probably more where they're at. So even if they don't get this regular season title, I don't think that stalls any kind of mental preparation or any kind of movement that they have going forward anyway. But I think you're right. I think both teams win. We finish half a game back. Well, why don't we jump to our first break? Give a shout out to one of our sponsors. Don't go anywhere, folks. You're watching The Jam. Welcome back, Jammer and Jamette fans. You're tuned to The Jam. Thank you again for watching. And thanks to our sponsors, Silver Spring Social Sports. It's a 21 and up social sports league. They include sports such as volleyball, dodgeball, football, soccer, softball, and kickball. And you want to get involved as soon as you can, go to silverspringsocialsports.com. The football season starts in a month, so you got about a month to sign up. silverspringsocialsports.com. Thanks again to our sponsors. Next, moving on, let's talk about the men's. Talk about the men's basketball team, men's Terps, who have been kind of slumping of recent. The whole team, but who gets the most attention? Melo. But it is a team effort. So no matter what, team effort, got to get it done, and they haven't been. Disappointing loss to Wisconsin, who's playing very good basketball as of late, has won 9 of their last 10. You got to give Wisconsin credit for really turning their season around. But then a big hiccup on the road to Minnesota, really kind of an ugly loss. We don't want to dive too far into that because it will get depressing. Let's just move on. Next on the list, Purdue. Saturday, 4 o'clock on ESPN. Tune in, Jammer fans. Terps take on Purdue. Number 20 ranked Purdue takes on number 6 ranked Maryland. Or number 10 ranked Maryland. I'm sorry. But since their last meeting, Purdue is 2-2 record, and Maryland is also 2-2. So neither team has necessarily made great strides since the last time they've played. Managed to stay afloat. Both teams are still ranked and still kind of hovering where they were. But now we have to go to Purdue, and on the road, Maryland averages 68.4 points per game, and Purdue is only giving up 59 points per game. Now that includes non-conference opponents as well, and they had some opponents that were less than mediocre competition. So take that in consideration. But still, 59 points is a very legitimate number at home defensively. Congratulations to that. But something's got to give. It's about a 10-point spread there. Maryland 68 on the road, Purdue 59. something has to give. Let's go over their first matchup. Maryland won 71-62. And at the time, Maryland was really struggling with turnovers and offensive rebounds. We really just looked confused at times, and teams were out hustling us, and Michigan State put on a clinic against us kind of on the offensive glass. Really disturbing. But Purdue had only 9 offensive rebounds that game, which is actually below our season average, believe it or not. Total of 35 rebounds for them. Maryland had 36 rebounds, so we actually out-rebounded them, which could be helpful to the equation of why we won 71-62. But also, they had 9 turnovers, and we only had 8, and we're averaging 13 on the season, so below our average, quite tremendously for a team that kind of turns it over quite a bit and gives other teams a lot of possessions, both in the turnover game and also in the offensive rebounding game. We were below both of our numbers, offensive rebounds and in turnovers, so we were limiting their possessions, which was great. And they shot 3 for 25 from distance against us. And we only came away with a 9-point win. I'm happy we won, and we didn't shoot all that great either from distance, 4 for 18. So it's not like we knocked down shots, and we've been a little bit cold, but looks like we came alive against Michigan on Sunday. So hopefully we're moving in the right direction and can kind of formulate some of that success again against them. What do you see happening here? Thoughts?
Well, shoot, I'd like to say that that we'd win, but I'm not so sure. We're not playing the best basketball. Yes, we won our last game. We've had some serious speed bumps along the way, this season, and I want to say that we finally figured it out after the loss in Minnesota. But Purdue's not showing me anything, that they're gonna, take care of business.
That's true. 2 for 2 in the last since our meeting. 2 for 2 since the meeting.
I think it's gonna be a close game. I think it's gonna come down to probably the last possession or two. I'm probably say a 4-point game. I'm gonna take the Terps. I want us to win. I think that we will win. We're the better team for sure. I'm counting on my man Swanigan to choke in the end of the second half, as he typically does all season. So I'll go ahead with the Terps. Thanks to Swanigan, and we'll get another W on the road.
All right. No hate being thrown. Wow. All right. No, I think the Terps win this too. I think Maryland will. Diamond Stone is rested. He didn't play that game against Minnesota. Played against Michigan, looked fresh, looked a lot better. Purdue has bigs. They got bigs. They can bang down low. But Maryland can bang down low too. We have Dodd, we have Checo, we got Stone. We got a lot of guys. Even Carter can bang with some of those bigs. We have bigs who are okay with contact, and sometimes we can get into foul trouble, but so can Purdue. I think Maryland finds a way to get Purdue in foul trouble, and I think on the second go-around, Melo has a much better game against Purdue. 4 for 18 from three-point range for the Terps. That really wasn't that good, and I think Melo was only like 1 for 10 or something laughable. It was not pretty. I think he settles down. I think Melo comes to play on the road. And I think he attacks the lane and attacks their bigs. I think he gets them in foul trouble, similar to what happened to them, in the first matchup. And I think Maryland pulls it off by a similar margin. I think we win by about 9 or 8.
Okay.
Again, I have a little bit lower scoring because Purdue doesn't give up a lot on the road. So I'm looking at something more like maybe 54 to 60, 65 or 63.
Okay.
Something around there. Maryland, 63, 65. Purdue more like 54, 55. But close to about a 10-point spread. I think this Maryland team has had a slap in the face. And they came out ferocious against Michigan. I know Michigan clawed back, but that's a good three-point shooting team, and they knocked down 14 threes against us on the road on Sunday, and I don't know a lot of other teams that would win that game with opponents coming to your house hitting 14 threes. I think Maryland I don't want to say back, but I think they're moving in that direction. I think this is going to be kind of what encapsulates them being back, if there is such a thing. You got to give opponents credit. Congratulations Minnesota and Wisconsin for beating us. But we definitely weren't ourselves in those games. Let's talk a little bit more about college basketball. Some of the recent happenings that have taken place. Let's talk about Colorado versus Arizona in the Pac-12. Jump out west. Colorado, big upset. Congratulations. Their season is kind of sitting on the bubble right now, needing some kind of poster win. They got it against Arizona at home. The fans love it. They stormed the court. How do you feel about court stormings?
Court stormings. It honestly depends, in my opinion.
Okay.
If you're a solid program and you've gotten the win before, I don't see the point of it. If you're, maybe not making the tournament and you upset a top 5 team or a team you haven't beaten 30 years, or it's a rivalry, then yeah, I kind of see it. But I'm against it. I don't see the point of it. You're putting the players in danger, the coaches in danger, even the fans rushing the court in danger. So while it's exciting somewhat to watch, and it's always good to see games where people are that excited that their teams win, I don't see the overall, I guess, gratitude in the end of what does it give you? It doesn't give you anything except, I guess, danger to everybody involved.
Okay. I'm going to respectfully disagree with you.
Okay.
And I know this is a very controversial topic, highly debated. Feel free to leave your comments, Jammer fans. Let us know how you feel about court stormings. But I'm going to go in the other direction. Not all the way in the other direction where I want chaos. That's not what I'm talking. But I'm okay with court stormings. I heard this earlier. I forget who said it, but I heard this reference earlier, and it was a great reference. College football is kind of alumni driven, where there's so much alumni support for college football a lot of the time. I know students are involved, but college basketball is students. It's the student section. It is, that is what riles up everything. At home, when you have an opponent that you want to take down, it's the student section that gets rowdy, that gets loud, that does whatever they have to do to motivate their team to win, to go to the next level and to win this basketball game. And I love it. I love it. And watching court stormings, I don't want the safety of the players to be impacted. But I do like the idea of court stormings where, you want to celebrate with your team and you want to have some fun. I do think there are ways to make court stormings okay. I don't think they need to be completely banned. I think what you can do is, allow time. There needs to be a grace period for the team to kind of get out of the way. Now, granted, you don't want to wait several minutes when the adrenaline kind of, funnels out and everyone's kind of settled down, but if it's a buzzer beater heave and your team hits it, and it's madness, everyone's going crazy and you can feel it, it's just like, wow, we won and we're running out there. People love that, but then there needs to be like an unstated rule where it's like, okay, we're going to go, but we know we have to wait. Let's wait. There needs to be a grace period where it's like, let's let them get out of the way. Now, granted, not every college student is that, that mentally focused where it's like, okay, I don't want to go out in the court and be like, you lost. I know a lot of the students probably want to get in the faces of the opponents who they just took down. And that is a little bit trickier to handle. But I think if there can start to be an unwritten code where it's like, that's frowned upon if you go up to the other team, we just want to celebrate our win. And I know this is treading on really, really, thin ice and
Right.
And it's not definitive at all. But I'm okay with the court stormings. I really am, because I like the electricity of it and the excitement, and I don't want anyone hurt, but these kids pay money, and And if that's one thing that comes with it is that they get to celebrate with their team on the court a little bit, like I say, okay, what thoughts? Go.
The only argument I have against what you're saying is how are you going to monitor this? As you mentioned, there are kids out there who knows what they did before the game, during the game. Maybe there's other things involved, but how are you going to tell 10,000, 20,000 kids not to storm? Who's going to stop them?
I guess here's what I would do. I would, instead of setting up security to like guard the whole court, just put security around like the bench and kind of the like coaching staff and players of the opposing team, where it's like, you don't let them get in the face of these guys. And I think I heard an opinion earlier that said, you still want to shake hands. Like there needs to be sportsmanship where, you still need to kind of shake hands. So it's tough. Like it's tough. I like the idea of court stormings, and if there can be some kind of grace period where teams line up right away, and I know there's emotions and people are kind of distraught and whatever, where you kind of need to take a minute to exhale a little bit. I mean, you and I have played competitive games before. We're athletes and we like competition, and sometimes when games end, you're on one end of it and you're juiced, and sometimes you're on the other end where you're kind of shell shocked, and maybe you need a minute, and you're just kind of sitting there thinking about it. But I think there needs to be some kind of time period where fans kind of allow what happens after the game to kind of happen after the game, and then there's time for celebration. And I know that's tough. I know it's kind of asking a lot, but I think there's a way around completely banning court stormings and making it something of the past, because I think that's what makes college sports so exciting, is that you can kind of be right there with your team, and it's a little bit different of a fanhood versus professional sports, because you can be so personal with the team in instances like this.
I don't disagree. I guess my issue with it, aside from safety, is I think it happens too often. I see quality programs, get a win that, maybe they didn't expect or the fans didn't expect, but, I could see it, and it's just like, you guys are a quality program,
honestly, that's arguing something completely different than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like literally like safety, not how classy it looks. Like, that's not at all what I'm arguing. I feel like you're bringing a factor of, conduct yourselves better. That's not what I'm talking about like at all. I'm talking about like,
right. I was just making a side.
The safety and the danger.
I was making a side.
But okay, you're right. There are some programs like, if you're North Carolina and maybe you're not ranked and you beat Duke, do you need to storm the court? Like, you're North Carolina, like you're like, if not the best, one of the best programs in college basketball history ever. So I hear you on that.
Just a side note.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Programs like that, I feel like you don't necessarily see them storming the court, though.
Yeah, you don't, but you see some programs that have been quality.
Sometimes you're right, but I mean, you got a Colorado team that
I don't know. I had them in that game, so.
Well, but I'm not saying you didn't. But how much success have they normally had against top 10 opponents? Slim.
Well, yeah.
Slim.
Is Arizona top 10 though?
Well, they were 9th when they beat them.
But they're not top 10.
That's getting into something else. Before we even jump to that,
okay,
we're cutting to another break. Don't go anywhere, folks. Thanks for tuning in and watching The Jam. Welcome back, Jammer and J-Man fans. Big shout out to another one of our sponsors, Junk Masters. Our business is picking up. Moving on, next topic, we're going to talk about the NFL Combine. Draft is coming up. Combine this weekend, in the next couple of days. We're going to see a lot of drills, a lot of chances.
Did you want to talk about this?
What?
The NFL releases and retirements? Or are you doing that at the end? Or we're just talking about it next?
Damn it, yeah, I didn't. We'll talk.
We can do it next time. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I don't want to go into that.
Okay, that's fine.
Honestly.
All right, I just wanted to make sure you didn't want to talk about it before.
No,
Before
you're right.
Okay.
What happened at that time? Oh yeah, that was just my. I didn't write that down.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make
Steph
sure.
Curry 51, 10 for 15 from distance.
That guy sucks. Did he make a 3 today? No, he only made 10.
Harden.
Oh my god. Alright,
Oh
sorry.
yeah, no,
Sorry, go.
we'll cut it out. Yeah, straight to the NFL question.
Did they win? They were losing. They won if you put up 51.
And as Warriors beat Magic 130-114 for 52nd win of the year. Let's go.
Oh shit, any second half?
Yeah, definitely. Like,
Oh.
okay. Yeah, hit it. Like, no joke. I hope not. But, yeah, they're going to win that. There's no doubt about it.
It might be something dumb like -10 or something.
Ooh, what? If it's under 7, I'd say yes.
Oh shit, somebody threw money. Islanders and San Francisco. Oh. Shit, I can't play. Like, look, it's not letting me play. I don't know why it's not.
Click on NBA or NCAA.
It only does, like, it usually says second half.
There.
No, these are all games that haven't started yet.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
They fucking looks like that.
With LT, with the Islanders, so.
Alright, right?
Alright. Yep, sorry. What did I do?
Yeah, what's that?
Yeah, alright, so Junk Masters.
Yeah.
Alright, thanks.
Alright. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, Jam and Jam fans. You're tuned into the Jam. Thanks again to another one of our sponsors, Junk Masters. Our business is picking up. Thanks again, Junk Masters. Moving on. Let's talk about NFL. Combine is coming up, and the draft not too far down the road. Time to really start thinking about it. You know, bunch of players at the combine trying to showcase themselves. We're gonna, you know, we're gonna really dissect the combine and some of these players that are at the combine. Let's start first. We're talking about QBs this week, and in your opinion, Stevie, which NFL team is in most need of a QB in this year's draft?
Well, until they figure it out, which may never happen, I'm going to Cleveland with the Browns. Jeez, man, it seems like they could pick anybody else but the last 25 that they've had. I'm not trying to be ridiculous here, but until they figure it out, they need to get a quarterback.
I don't know who would disagree with you. It has to be the Browns. I mean, their play at quarterback is so inconsistent, and the reach they made on Manziel is sad. It epitomizes Cleveland. Like, you know, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing or what they're thinking. Everyone else is saying don't do that, and then they do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, despite however good his pro day looked and everything like that, you know, I gotta give Manziel credit for his pro day. It really looked very good. He threw extremely well, but still, you know, Cleveland they just need to be smarter. Like, they just have to be smarter. But I think you're absolutely right. It's got to be the Browns. It's got to be the Browns. They need some kind of consistent play at quarterback in order to try and grow in the direction they want to go in. Cleveland, by far. All right. So who is your top QB prospect in this year's combine?
My top quarterback this year is from Memphis with Paxton Lynch. I think the guy's got the size. He's built somewhat like Big Ben. Very mobile. When he gets out of the pocket, you know, he looks to pass first instead of run, but he can get outside the pocket when he is pressured. The only thing that he needs to work on, I think, is maybe his accuracy. But for a big man of his size, he's got great footwork, and he could maybe read the field a little bit better. But with his mobility and his size, I think he can make a more than quality starter at that level.
I like that, and I really like what that kid brings to the table a lot. Respect Paxton Lynch a ton. But I'm going to go a little bit more conventional. I'm going to break down the two guys who are, you know, a little bit more highly sought after over Paxton. Looking at Jared Goff out of Cal, and then you're also looking at Carson Wentz out of North Dakota State. Go Bison. I look at Wentz, And both of these quarterbacks have some big question marks, and even Paxton Lynch, playing for a little bit smaller of a school, Memphis, where didn't face the tremendous competition that some of the other quarterbacks that are going into the draft may have faced. So his numbers might look a little bit better, but no disrespect to Paxton. Same thing for Jared Goff. Look at Jared Goff, and he's got question marks in terms of they're wondering about his hand size. He has 9 inches is his hand size, but they're also looking at the scheme that Cal ran and how unsuccessful most quarterbacks that come out of that type of system, as I've heard it referred to as Todd McShay, air raid type of system where it's like all passing all day, and no one has been successful out of systems like that. You look at quarterbacks like Tim Couch and names along that line where they come out of these systems where it's all passing, where you kind of look great, but the NFL system isn't run necessarily like that all the time. And then you got Carson Wentz, who played at North Dakota State. You're looking at a quarterback that played Division I AA competition. No offense to these boys, it's a bigger scene in the ACC, in the SEC, in the Big Ten. It's tougher competition, and you got to flex your muscles a little bit more and show a little bit more toughness, and that's simply just the way it is. With that said, I think he does have the toughness, and I think he does have the size and the elements to be successful in the NFL. But I think my top prospect, despite everything, is still Jared Goff. I really do think he has the ability to make all the throws. I know, like I said, from this air raid type system, no one has been successful from it. So someone is due. Someone is due. And I think Goff has everything it takes. 4,719 yards last season, 9 yards per attempt, so about 10 yards, almost a first down every time he throws the ball. 43 touchdowns to 13 picks. That's pretty solid. 161.3 passer rating, 65% completion percentage. I think the numbers are there. But there are some flags, whereas if Cleveland takes this kid number 1 overall, coming out of sunny California, he's got to go to kind of, terrible weather Cleveland. No offense, Cleveland, love you. But, the weather there is not 70 degrees and sunny every single day. It's not like, you're just throwing in the most perfect weather. You're throwing in some conditions that get windy, that might have freezing rain, that are going to be questionable. And he's going to have to develop some kind of toughness if he goes to Cleveland. This is all speculation. But I have him as my top prospect right now at the quarterback position coming out of the draft this year. So, moving on. Of these QBs, who has the most to prove at the combine?
Okay, I have 2 answers. I'll start off with, I guess, the non-disagreement one with you. I'll go with Hackenberg. I don't think this guy's ready for the NFL at all. Yeah. He's not been good. He played maybe a good half season. He's not had good stats. He doesn't look ready. He makes terrible decisions on the field. He has for the past 2.5, essentially 3 years.
That's a lot. And I don't know if that's from Penn State's line or from him not going the right place.
Yeah, but he just makes terrible. Yeah, he does get sacked, and maybe the terrible decisions are based off him not taking a sack. Some of them are, but you look at his reads and they're not good. Some of his, I guess, mobility and decisions with his accuracy are I would say subpar. I don't know who's going to take a flyer on this kid, but
wait, he has mobility?
But pocket awareness, I might say. Yeah. But I would not take a flyer on this kid. I don't think he's going to be a good NFL prospect. He might, maybe a third string, but I'll give him maybe a backup at best.
All right, do I get to say mine before you say your second? You said you have 2.
I do have 2.
So do I get to say mine first,
sure,
or do you get to say your second?
Go ahead.
All right. I think Cardale Jones. No?
Okay.
Okay. I think Cardale Jones has the most to prove at this year's combine. You look at him last year, coming off the national championship run, played incredible versus Alabama, their first game, went and took out Oregon, fantastic. Ezekiel Elliott ran great, but Cardale Jones looked unstoppable. Talking about him going pro last year, decided to come back. Very, very mediocre numbers this year. Split touches with J.T. Barrett. It was a mess at quarterback for Ohio State this year. They still had a good season, don't get me wrong, but in terms of his stock, didn't help his stock look good at all. But late 2 years ago, when they won a national championship, his stock went up, up, up. You know, he led the team, was doing great, took over the first college football playoff, you know, stunned everybody. Oh, is this kid going pro? Has prototypical size, 6'5", like 230, big kid. But his stock has fallen. And I think he could be a little bit of a shocker this year in the draft. And I think he has the most to prove, considering last year he could have been a top 5 or top 10 or first round pick in last year's draft. The way his stock was climbing, you know, it could have been. So I have Cardale Jones. What's your second one?
Okay, I like that one. My second one is your main man, Goff. I think he has the most to prove. He's the number one quarterback prospect coming out of college right now, so he has to prove that he's worthy of his pick. He has only ground to lose.
And he's said he's the best coming out. He's also stated he's the best coming out.
So didn't they all? It seems like they're all the best leaders. So I mean, it was pretty ridiculous.
He literally said, "I'm the best in the draft."
You read off his stats, and yes, he was efficient. Yes, he racked up the yards. Yes, he racked up the touchdowns. But who's he facing? It seems like everybody in that conference it's a 40-40 game every freaking game.
Well, I also saw he threw for 5 touchdowns versus Oregon State, but so did the Washington State quarterback, Luke. I'm drawing a blank on his name. I should know this. But Washington State's quarterback also threw 5 touchdowns against Oregon State as well. He's a sophomore. Look for this kid. This kid's going to be good.
I'm saying there's no defense to play in that conference. Anybody could just seemingly play quarterback. You know,
fair enough. But look at some of the top quarterbacks that are in the NFL right now and where they came from. You look at quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers that did play for Cal,
right?
Like Carson Palmer that did play for USC. You know, Pac-12 is known for producing, you know, quarterbacks. And I hear you. Like, I do. I hear you. I think there are question marks. You know, I
wouldn't say there are question marks. You know, he's grown, you know, over the past years, and he's grown very well, and he's definitely matured as someone would want him to. I just think in the wording of has the most to prove, given his current projected draft position, he has the most to prove with everybody that's in the quarterbacks doing all of the activities. He needs to prove himself above and beyond everybody else.
Absolutely. He needs to elevate his game. I hear you. If you're going to put yourself on the pedestal, you need to climb to that pedestal and proceed as such. Absolutely. Okay. I hear you on that one. Moving on. Next question. Are there any other teams that should take a shot on a QB early in the draft? I know we said Cleveland. Do you think anyone else, first or second round, we're talking early, so it's got to be like a first rounder or second rounder. What other teams should take a chance early on a quarterback, in your opinion?
I think there are many teams that you and I would agree with.
Sure.
You know, the Jets, Rams, Niners.
Question marks, yeah.
You know, we said the Browns and the Texans, but I think one that might surprise everybody is the Saints. You know, with Drew Brees turning 37, Sean Payton may be wanting out of there. I'm not sure if they want to, you know, package them both, ship them separate in trades. I don't know. But with Drew Brees getting that old and their backup quarterbacks being subpar, in my opinion, you know, neither of them are NFL ready. I think the Saints could take a shot at one.
Okay. I hear you on the Saints. I agree with you that it's time for the Saints to start looking towards the future, and it's sad to say because everyone loves Drew Brees, respect the crap out of him, fantastic NFL player, beautiful career he's had, but they just took a quarterback in Brett Hundley out of UCLA. I know he's maybe not ready right now, but they just took a quarterback last year's draft that they have. You want them to go again? Oh, you listen to back? No. Damn. Who's their backup?
Garrett Grayson and your boy Matt Flynn from LSU.
Oh, well, they picked up Flynn.
Yeah.
Grayson. I still...
Colorado State.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that. I'm going with the Texans. This is a team that's ready to win now. This team is ready to win now. They need to take a quarterback because that is what's hurting them. Their defense is good. They have receivers who are good.
I don't disagree with you. What quarterback that you draft is ready to win now?
Paxton Lynch. They take a shot on Paxton Lynch with I have it written down here.
The Texans pick in the 20th, yeah.
22nd pick in the draft. You know, if you look at it, let's do this hypothetical. So the Browns have the second pick overall. Let's say they go Goff or Wentz.
Right.
Either one, doesn't matter. So the next desperate team for a quarterback is the Rams. You know, they really don't have any kind of starter. You got San Francisco, who has kind of a starter, but maybe not. With Kaepernick, they're still working out agreements, and I've read reports that by April 1st that they got to figure something out. So the clock is winding down on San Fran, but right now they have some situation going on.
Right.
They're the 7th pick coming up in this year's draft. But the Rams at 15 need something. They need something. It's not going to be Foles. It's not going to be Keenum. They need something else. So they're either going to take Goff or Wentz. So let's scratch both of them off. Browns took Goff. Rams took Wentz. Hypothetical. All hypothetical. So now you got the 22 pick coming up, and you got Connor Cook, Hackenberg possibly, Cardell Jones, Dak Prescott, or Paxton Lynch. I think the Texans are a team that could capitalize on that pick, who need to look to make a move, early, and try and get a quarterback. I don't think Hoyer is going to lead them next year. I don't see it. I'm sorry.
Right. He played decently during the regular season. Just when it comes down to crunch time, what was that?
Exactly.
And your teammates are telling you to get him out of the game. Oh my God, how do you come back?
You don't want him. You don't want him.
Right.
You don't want him. They need something else, and I don't see why not. Why not Paxton Lynch over Hoyer? Why not? I think they take a shot early on Paxton Lynch. So who should the Saints take a shot on, in your opinion?
I don't know. I don't know that they even will. But if I were,
any team, it could be, like I just said, it could be the Texans. Who is a quarterback that you think a team should take a shot on early?
My number one QB is not even the projected top 2, so I would go with Paxton. Maybe in the later rounds, Matt Johnson.
How
from Bowling Green? I don't know. Just take a flyer on this man. I know he's smaller in size. He's from a 100% passing game there, but he had, I think, the number one accuracy in college for quarterbacks, and his efficiency down the field was unrivaled. So while he may be small in stature and not very heavy,
I think 5'11".
The guy can throw. Drew Brees is 5'11". So
I hear.
So give my man a little bit of leniency, and just somebody take a flyer on him, and I would love to see him try to make it at this next level.
Here's another guy who I got for you, Brandon Doughty, out of the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky. Kid's a stud, 6'3", 220, senior, led the NCAA in passing yards this year, 5,055, 48 touchdowns to 9 picks. Now, granted, I know the level of competition is a little bit, subdued compared to some of the stats that we're comparing of some of these guys, but still, this kid can sling it.
I love watching him play this year.
He can sling it. He's awesome. I think that's another name that, not no offense to him, I don't know if he's first or second round material, but could be very, sufficeable in the 3rd or 4th round for teams like Dallas. I hate to say it because I don't want to support Dallas, but teams like Dallas, and you got teams like the Jets or teams like the Bears, Chicago Bears, who, Cutler's kind of getting close to his time within the next, maybe 2 years, who might want to take a shot. I think this is a kid that people should consider taking a shot on. He has, prototypical size, and he's shown he can throw the football with precision. So there's two big names to watch. You got Matt Jones, and then you also got Brandon Doughty out of Western Kentucky. So a couple names up there. Combine's going to be interesting this year. Don't miss it. We're gonna do more talk about running backs and also wide receivers. Couple shows later, but we're gonna make sure to include everything. But I think that's about all we have for today. We're gonna thank again our sponsors, and thanks to all our fans for tuning into the show. Jaren fans, we love you. Please subscribe to our channel. Leave us some comments. Let us know your thoughts and start a chat with us. We'd love to talk to you. But for Stevie, I'm Brad Cameron. You're watching The Jam. And reminding you, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.